Welcome back to Doctor Who season review, and today we'll be reviewing Paul McGann's final season, season 49. First we have the Starship of Theseus. Personally, I think this is a decent Doctor Who story and a good start to the Time War era of the 8th Doctor. Now, is it a good introduction to Bliss? No. I thought she was kind of uneventful and didn't really do anything for me, but I can see where people come from, and I mean, it is a decent Doctor Who story, and I really like the characters in this one. Pretty decent. Next, we've got Echoes of War. Now, this is a pretty decent Doctor Who story. I mean, the Dalek in this is kind of like rusty, kind of a decent Dalek. Doesn't want to be bad, doesn't want to be good, but chooses to be good in order to stop the bad Daleks. Bliss is, well, getting more developed, as this is her planet, her home planet, and generally it's an alright, better story, to be honest, than the Starship of Theseus. All in all, pretty good. Next we've got the Conscript, and this one's shit. Honestly, it's awful. The Commander, or Mrs. Commander, she just doesn't really do, or whatever her name is, she doesn't really do anything for me, and she's really annoying. I just can't bear to stand there and listen to this mackerel woman yak on. It's really annoying. Next we've got One Life, and hear me out. It's okay. It's not great. It's not brilliant. It's an alright story, I guess. Just like most of the other ones, just doesn't really do anything for me. Sorry. Next, we've got The Lords of Terror. Now, this one is a pretty decent Doctor Who story. I'm starting to like Bliss a lot more, and sure enough, I know that Bliss is going to be his final companion, and I know what the end is going to be like. But from now on, but in this moment in time, Bliss is well stated as a companion, and she is overall pretty good. I really like Bliss. I think she's brilliant. Next, we've got Planet of the Ogrons. This one's okay. I like the Ogrons, and I like the Ogron that's dressed in the Edwardian costume of the 8th Doctor. But overall, it's an alright Doctor Who story, and the introduction to the 12 is alright. I mean, she's nowhere near as great as the 11, but close enough, and it's alright. Next, we've got In the Garden of Death, and this one's a pretty good one, actually. It's got the Doctor, Bliss, and 12. And, well, considering her introduction in the last story, which was called Planet of the Ogrons, terrible title. What do I rate her in my books? She's okay. She's alright. That's all there is to say about that one. Next, we've got Jonah. I really like Jonah. I think Jonah's a good story, but I think it needed a better plot, and basically the whole thing needed a better plot, to be honest. The plot itself is dreadful. Characters do nothing. You know, it's just like, well, what's the point of these characters being here if they're not going to do anything, you know? It's just stupid. Next, we've got State of Bliss. Now, this is another story about Bliss, and it shows a bit has more insight on her backstory and who she is, where she came from, and how she got in this mess. And now this is a fully fledged companion. She's traveling with the Doctor now and fighting in the Time War as a companion with the Doctor in the Time War before the Doctor went solo. Overall, it's alright. Next, we've got the Famished Lands. Yeah, the Famished Lands are alright, I guess. The Doctor and Bliss are stuck on a planet that's, well, deserted, like dust. And there's nobody else. No ships. No Daleks. Maybe. But I'm guessing there will be Daleks there. Overall, it's a decent flick. It's a decent story. Next, we got Fugitive in Time. It's alright, I guess. I mean, one of the Time Lords is trying to run away from the Daleks and the Doctor in that. But it's like really written really poorly, I want to say. The story overall is alright. It's just and a bit more Next, we've got the War Valeyard, and this story brilliantly highlights the Valeyard's descent into madness, and how he can't take it. Sets him in the Time War with the 8th Doctor, and he certainly cannot take the pressure or anything. He can literally not take it, which is why I think he probably runs away and the Doctor's left behind. Overall, this was pretty decent, and I really like the Valeyard in this one. Next, we've got Palindrome Part 1. Palindrome Part 1's alright, I guess. The story itself is pretty decent. The Doctor and Bliss are, well, they're stuck in a predicament that they probably won't be able to get out of. But I'm pretty sure they'll be alright. That's if they don't die. Hint, they probably do. Next, we've got Palindrome Part 2. Palindrome Part 2 is alright. I guess it's better than Part 1. But anything's probably better than Part 1. Honestly, Part 2 is alright. It's a decent story with a decent plot, and it's better than Part 1. So, give it kudos for that, I guess. Next, we got Dreadshade. Now, Dreadshade is pretty decent Doctor Who story. It's alright. I mean, the villain's naff, as usual. But overall, it's pretty decent, and I really like the intertwined to the next one, which we'll get to now. Overall, this was alright. Next, we've got Restoration of the Daleks. Now, this story sees the return of Davros. Now, he's put himself in the Time War, and this is probably the story in which the Doctor tries to save him, and this is probably the story when the Nightmare Child happens, which is why Davros just starts naming him the Destroyer of the Worlds. It's set in the Time War, and Davros tries to rebuild his Daleks by creating a new set of Daleks to fight the Time War, but it doesn't work. And ultimately, the Doctor does try to save him, but like in Stolen Earth, but like in Johnny's End, he says no. Overall, it's an alright story, I guess. And Bliss dies. The Doctor's left on his own. And he also gets an intriguing signal, which leads him to a spaceship that's crashing to Khan. You know what's coming up next. And finally, we have The Night of the Doctor, which sees the 8th Doctor's final adventure in time and space. But it wouldn't be the end of the Time War, for this would only be the beginning. So the Doctor crash lands on Khan after trying to save a girl called Cass, which he got a signal from a crashing spaceship from the previous story, Restoration of the Daleks, which leads into this one. Doctor crash lands on Khan, dies. The Sisterhood of Khan revive him. He asks to be called the Warrior, not the Doctor anymore, and he becomes the War Doctor. Overall, the story is alright. It's a great mini episode, and it's a good jumping on point into the John Hurt era of the Time War, which we'll get to next time. So join me next time for season 50. Don't forget to subscribe to the official Spider-Man Pro 2004 YouTube channel.